Yeah, because he did.
40-something million.
Yeah, that's all I cares about.
It's a good legacy.
That's all I care about.
Right.
Just so it's confusing this week, our fans are being confused with the television. It's not television. Mountain West Network is a new thing. It's like ESPN3. It's online only. It's free anywhere. But so that people just go to our website and watch the game. It's a full produced game with announcers. It's not. It's a full broadcast, just like ESPN3 does. That's going to take a while for people to realize that. So technically not televised, live streamed over the internet. We got this game and San Jose State is like that, and I think one road game.
It's not like that. We have to have Cox cable, your passwords, and all that.
No, none of that stuff. So fans will like it, but they're going to have to get used to it. So this is our first time on there this week.
You said they go to UNLV website?
Yeah. Just UNLVRebels.com, free of charge right on the website. And we'll put it quite prominently, obviously, on game day to find it.
Are you done?
That's the end of my
Good.
That's the end of the news conference.
All right, good. Thanks, guys.
Good night, everybody.
Night, everybody. That's Chris's line, not yours. Okay. Obviously, we got to regroup and attack this week. Arizona beat us soundly. It's time to move on from that one. And I guess the major issue for us is in the first 2 weeks. We're 2 weeks into the season. Our opponents have scored 6 touchdowns on us when our defense has been on the bench. 3 interceptions, a fumble, 1 on the field goal team, 1 on the kickoff coverage team. So nobody, especially us, and especially against the Pac-10 or a Big Ten team, but anybody, no one is going to win when you do those things, let alone against those 2 teams we just played. So Central Michigan's a good team. They won their bowl game last year. They rallied after a little bit of a slow start last season. I think they were 3-6. Came back, got in their bowl game, beat Western Kentucky in that game. They had the number 1 overall selection in the NFL draft come off their team. That should be an eye-opener to everyone involved with our program. They won last week, came from behind, won on a last-second field goal. They had 4 interceptions against Michigan. Didn't have a good outcome in the big house, but did some really good things on the defensive side. Despite what we look at the film, we don't look at the score. That's certainly what our team needs to do. And then, we're just aware they're a good team. They're a good program. They have been. And, we got to get ready to go this week.
Have you watched much video of Cooper Rush, and what's your opinion of him?
We're early in the week, but he played well. When he came in last week, they were down substantially. He came in, I don't know what the time on the clock said, but it was early. 3rd or 4th series of the game, and did a nice job. So,
what is it about him that concerns you the most from what you saw?
They did a nice job throwing the ball down the field, and I know their numbers better than their names. 84, Davis is a good player. He's a real threat. He does a good job. I like, they're running. They're starting. The guy that was their starting back got injured, but in the Michigan game. But number 6 is a good player. He showed up last year as a kickoff returner. He runs really hard. He's a good player as well.
Bobby, what will you do about your quarterback situation this week?
We'll compete in practice this week and have a plan for that on Saturday.
What do you feel about Nick's confidence right now, and especially if you do make the move to go to Caleb? How would that shake Nick up?
That would be hypothetical first
Sure,
on that. But, I think Nick's a confident guy in general. I don't think he's a guy that is easily shaken. He never has been. He's been a pretty confident guy since I've known him. So hopefully he is exactly that.
The ability to, if you do make the decision to go to Caleb, to have a quarterback, obviously we've seen time.
Yeah, we've said that all along. We feel like we have 2 guys that have game experience, and that's a real benefit to the team.
Coach, you talk about these. Obviously, you're going to talk about the next game. It's the most important game. But you talk about this 4-game stretch that's really vital. Maybe
I refuse, and so do they. One game this week, Central Michigan. That's it.
I mean, last 2 weeks.
Sorry, man, but that's it.
You talked about Minnesota was a pretty good team. You said Arizona was a better team than UNLV. How do you look at how would you assess your team compared to Central Michigan then?
Well, that's kind of what we play on Saturday for. We get ready for the game and you go play. I mean, you don't. That's the beauty of college football. You get 12 opportunities to do that and test you prepare during the week, and then you go get to find out. Those hypotheticals are, usually for teams that you don't play, just because you don't get to find out. So we get to find out Saturday, and we'll see.
For both players, can I get a few thoughts just on the importance of this next game? Then Central Michigan is coming off those 2 losses.
I mean, I think every game now is key for us, and like Coach said, we're just going to try to put those 2 games behind us. We can't sit and dwell about them and wish we could have did this or could have did that better. But now we just got to look on the next week and get the ball rolling and look to get our first win of the season.
I agree exactly what he said. I mean, it's time to move on, and we got to get ready for this weekend.
When you, Bobby, dealt with quarterbacks in the past, young kids who might be struggling, and I know they're all different individuals, but is there something you can say to him, given the mistakes have been so critical at times, or, I mean, you just have to live with it because he's young?
Yeah, I mean, everything that can be said is said. I mean, you kind of have to go do it. And, some guys either, over the years, a lot of different places, some guys either get it going or they don't. And obviously we like our guy, and we like our guys, plural, as well. As I said when either I think Chris asked me the question, maybe it was Kevin, but we feel like we have guys that have game experience. We feel like they're capable. But again, it's for all of us, and the quarterback's the most visible part. But for all of us, I mean, for me and for each of these 2 guys, I mean, Saturday's the exam. You, as I mentioned, you prepare all week, and then you get to go out and perform. And we need to go and cut it loose and be the team that we all think we can be. It's not just me. I think everybody on our team feels that way. So it starts with the quarterback, kind of.
He said 11 in the last 5 games. Obviously, the pick sixes are just killers. But have you been able to say percentage-wise why some have happened? Has he been trying to rally? Is he just trying to make a play?
Yeah,
too much?
Some of it's that. Some is just bad decisions. Some of it's getting fooled. I mean, there's not any one thing. It's not like it's all in drop back or all quick or all flushed out of the pocket. I mean, it's all different things. I mean, if there was a trend to that, there would be better answers in terms of preparation for the game. But it's a wide variety of things. And Brett would be the first to tell you, his goal is to keep the guy clean when the guy's and you watch it with whoever in the NFL on Sunday. If it's the Giants, somebody said they had 4 interceptions against yesterday, and that guy starts getting knocked around. The decision making tends to be worse. Those guys, you have to be. The question was in terms of confidence. When things are going well, they go well. So I mean, we went with our starting quarterback a week ago, set a school record for completions in a game, and then the next week we have a meltdown. So as individuals, we all have to yank ourselves out of that. As coaches, we have to encourage that and help it. And it comes down to playing well on Saturday.
How do you perceive him as in terms of his mental toughness as a kid, just compared to other guys you've coached at that position?
You generally have a better sense for that after the battles are all done and they're going out the door with their degree. But my assessment of Nick is that he's a tough guy. He's a tough kid, and he's a guy that has the ability to bounce back. Within a game, that's probably an art that more veteran players have. But week in, week out, I think he's shown the ability to pull himself out of it. So.
Not just a quarterback with the entire team to get a win. Do you need that from a confidence standpoint, you think?
One more time, the first part of that?
To get for the entire team, not just the quarterback, do you think from a confidence standpoint you need a win?
Yeah, sure. I mean, winning's good, losing's horrible. losing. Trying not to show my bad vocabulary, but losing's lousy. It is. There's nothing good about it. There's nothing to be gained from it, and winning is good. So it doesn't matter how you do it. There's W's and L's, and the W's are great, and they're fun, and they're enjoyable every day, Sunday through the next game, and losses are miserable Sunday through the next game.
Tim, can you kind of answer that too? Same thing. What would a win do for this program?
A win would be huge, just to get everything going and guys feel better after a win. But we can't let an 0-2 start just be the end of our season, because there's plenty of teams in the past or who even this year will lose their first 2 games and still go on to get a bowl game or have a winning season. So it's just we can't let 0-2 start be the end of it, and then guys start getting down and acting like the season's over, checking in. We just got to keep going, because it's only 2 games. We got 10 games left, and it's a lot of football left for the season. So,
Bobby, how do you explain? You talked about the 6 touchdowns, but just some of the miscues, missed extra point, punter not going on the field. How do you explain some of these miscues that have been going on the first 2 games?
Well, the substitution error punt is. There's no explanation for that. There is no explanation for that. I mean, the Nick rolling the snap back on the PAT, I mean, his hands were sweaty. It happens. I can yell at him, don't sweat on the football, but he just covered down the field 50 yards, and he'd been playing a bunch of plays, and his hands were sweaty. Yeah, that's the way it goes.
How do you prevent those first 2, kind of what Tim was saying, those 2 losses to start into a here we go again type situation?
Well, I don't know. I would suppose being mentally tough. I think we got a lot of character and mental toughness in our locker room. I mean, failing and not coming back and competing is a sign of somebody not having any mental toughness, and I don't think that's lacking with our guys, players or coaches.
And to kind of add with that, it'd be different. I feel like if we felt like we played our best football and got blown out in both 2 games, but I feel like our best game has yet to be seen, and that's where a lot of guys are still confident. We know we're better than how we played the last 2 games, so everybody on the team is still ready to go and fired up, ready for next week, because we know that our best football is yet to be seen.
Coach, going into both the last games at your press conferences, you have said that you know what you're facing in terms of bigger opponents. It's a matter of improving, getting better, so on and so forth. Have you, despite what we've seen? I mean, have you seen improvement?
The mistakes, like I said, it's so hard to assess that when you flat give the game away with the, as I mentioned, 6 touchdowns with our defense on the sideline. You can't. It's not competitive. I mean, there's nobody overcomes that. So, over the next few weeks, we have to evolve and become a good team. And it's really hard to assess for me. I mean, and we're doing some things well, but it's about winning and losing. We aren't right now.
What about for you guys on each side of the ball, offense, defense? You seen anything positive to come out of what we've seen as far as against those bigger opponents?
I mean, I just feel like we didn't. I know that our guys are capable of making the plays that we didn't make. So I just know personally, because I know the guys on my team. I know we're better than that. So I know coming out of that there are positive things. So I know we didn't play as good as we can. So that's what I take out of it. We just didn't simply execute our assignments. But I know we're capable of doing that. So I'm not really worried.
I agree with what Tim said. I mean, we haven't shown our full potential yet, and I mean, we got to strive for that. So that's what we're going to continue to do. And I mean, there's always positives you can take, and we're going to do that.
Obviously, when you fall behind early, you can't really go to the running game much. But how much do you want to incorporate the running game more into your plan?
Well, we want to be balanced. It's always can we try to be 50-50 in terms of how we call it. These guys up front love to run the ball. We have good running backs. We don't want to be a team that just relies on the run game. We want to be able to throw it because we feel like that gives us a chance to have more production. But again, you can't have negative outcome when you throw the ball. And, we're not going back to Woody Hayes and saying there's 3 things can happen when you throw the ball and 2 of them are bad. That's not our philosophy. So,
Is it Tim's obviously the guy who gets the majority carries it right now? Is it still then Shaquille number 2?
Well, yeah, Shaquille's yards per carry are what? Something unbelievable right now. He doesn't have a whole bunch of them, but it's not like it's 1 or 2 carries. He's averaging 20 yards a carry, so probably had to hand it to him a couple more times and see what happens.
Where does Adonis fit in all this?
Probably third right now. I mean, it's one of those deals where you guys healthy or guys playing well and seeing things well, then you try to get them in the mix.
Do you see getting Lightweight in there at some point?
Mm-hmm. I do. I like what he's doing. It might take somebody getting nicked up, though. I mean, that's what happens when you get your depth.
With all the experience you had coming into the season and the guys that have been around the program for a few years, is that probably the most disappointing is all these silly, stupid mistakes then, huh?
Yeah, a little bit. A little bit. Obviously the turnovers are the issue. The other things, they're all correctable, all fixed, I would say. We're not a highly penalized team. We did have 4 penalties in that game that were stuff that we don't condone or accept. But the other stuff, it's not experienced guys that's making them. So whatever, they'll be all right. They'll be all right. We played 2 good teams. We didn't beat them. We'll be all right.
Oh, you talk more about Central Michigan, just kind of what you're facing this week as a whole, and what they're bringing in there this week.
Well, they've got, like I said, they've been over the past 10 years a really productive program. They've done a nice job there. I've not been there, but it looks like a kind of a cool place. They're a big physical team up front on defense, and then obviously, as I said, with having the number 1 pick in the NFL draft last year coming off their offensive line, that kind of tells you who they're recruiting up front on offense. They've had a couple injuries, but it looked like the guys that came in last week did a really nice job. So they've built some depth over the years. I kind of like the way they play. They've got some. They play physical. They've got some edge to them. Kind of things you like as a football guy.
What does that say? That you kind of touched on it earlier, and just now that a mid-major, so to speak, can have the number 1, player picked in the NFL draft.
Well, they're doing some. Obviously, they're getting some guys in recruiting, developing them. When you get guys like that, and they're guys kind of like Brett or Tim, frankly, who are under-recruited but don't necessarily – you're not recruiting a guy that's ready to go as a freshman, even though they had to play young here. But you're going to develop them, and that's kind of – we're in the same boat as they are, and they've done a good job of it.
Tim and Brett, what coaches said a minute ago, we'll be all right. What kind of gives you the hope that you will be all right this year?
We got the guys in the locker room who want to compete and want to play hard. We got the guys who want to win. So I mean, when you got those types of guys in your locker room, I mean, it makes it obvious that you want to be in the right direction, and we're trying to head that way.
And just to add, all the turnovers and all the mistakes we're making it's not part of us. That's not part of our football team. So once we correct those and get those out of our style of play, then I feel like our whole game would be different. You know what I mean? Like Coach keeps saying, you can't have all these turnovers and these silly mistakes and expect to win. That's just no team can come out Saturday and win. So I just know our team. I mean, this is my 4th year with them, all these guys, and I just know how everybody plays and how we can play out there. And I know it's our best football hasn't came out yet.
You sense something different than years past with this team.
Yeah.
Oh no, here we go again.
No, it's definitely not that. I just know everybody can clearly see all the mistakes we've been making, and I don't think nobody thinks this is the best we can play. I'm assuming everybody knows there's we haven't showed up yet, and that's where we need to come out this weekend and play.
How different would you be if you went with Caleb Herring? At all?
I mean, same. Yeah.
Same.
Yeah, their strengths as individuals are similar.
wouldn't be any drastic either way. Is it good if you have to be in a change? At least you have a kid who's, I mean, he's going to know how to get on the field. He's a senior, and
Yeah.
if you have to look to him at this point,
Yep.
how would he respond in your mind?
Like I think all our guys respond when they're called upon, is come in and be excited about it and bless you, and try to lift their team up, do their best they absolutely can. And these guys are college guys. They got a lot going on, but I think they do a nice job of focusing in on the job at hand, and when called upon, will perform. That's what I think these guys, as they've alluded to, are evolving into a bunch of guys that care.
Bobby, UNLV had the number one, obviously, NBA draft pick. Do you foresee a day where the football program could have a?
What would be great is to foresee a day where we have numerous guys drafted. To have someone drafted like that, it takes usually a unique set of circumstances, whoever that is in any given year. But to have a day where we've got a draft day where we have 2 or 3 guys drafted would be big. Those are fun days.
Obviously, it drives you nuts, the way these 2 games have unfolded. The fans, the people, obviously more than anybody else, you'd love to see this community to start rallying around this team and getting some wins.
Yeah, well, I hope people give us a chance to come watch us and give us a chance to show that we can be a good football team. And as I said, the turnovers for touchdowns, and hope of an upset in a game, and that's what, for us to beat Arizona, all of you too. When you look at the schedule going into the season, you probably didn't have that one penciled in as a win for us. But upsets happen, and we took away any opportunity to upset Arizona by giving the ball away to them. As I said, it doesn't matter who you are, let alone UNLV versus a Pac-12 team. When you give up 3 touchdowns in the first half on offense, it's not going to happen. So, got to move on from that and be disappointed that we didn't give ourselves a chance. But we got to tackle Kadeem Carey better too. He's pretty good. I would say he's as built. There were some times where we had it fitted up and defensed, and he was better than we were.
The secondary looks improved, even though the first 2 teams haven't passed it as much. They're looking good. Do you think playing a team like Central Michigan that throws it a little more will help the defense? Yeah,
I think it's going to be one of the interesting things for us is to, kind of to answer the question from earlier is where are we, is to see how we hold up in the secondary. Our guys have played fairly well. Minnesota probably more than Arizona tested us down the field, and we made plays on the ball, but there were a couple on the mark throws last week against Arizona that our guys made plays on the ball and did a good job. So, when the routes extend down the field, which Central Michigan will do, everything essentially becomes man-to-man. Even when you're in zone, it essentially becomes man-to-man as it extends down the field, and you have to make plays on the ball, and that's something that at times in past years we've struggled with, and to date this season, our guys have been winning on the ball. So hopefully that continues. Thanks, man.
Thanks, Bobby.